And welcome to Two Fools Network. I'm Dave the Head, and Drew is not in this one with me today. Instead, I have two guests, and they are...
RJ.
And Kayla.
And we're going to talk about television and cinema in the comic book aspect. We're going to talk about the DC television stuff, the Marvel TV stuff, the cinema stuff, and probably, knowing us, any damn thing else.
Most likely.
Yeah. So, Kayla's going to be quiet during some of the talk of the dark times that we like to refer to as the DC stuff.
I'm not quite familiar with Arrow and Flash or Gotham because I've only caught certain episodes. I know.
That's okay. At the end of this, you're probably going to be grounded till you binge watch it all on Netflix.
Dag nabbit.
And, RJ, do you want to introduce yourself any?
Well, I'm RJ. I've watched all Arrow and Flash for the most part from the beginning. Not watched really any of Gotham too much, but David says it's good, so I guess I'll have to check it out at some point.
Well, I do think it's interesting. There are times when it's good, there are times when you're just shaking your head going, what the hell is this?
Well, all I remember from the first 3 episodes was Penguin, so...
Yeah, he does get better in my opinion. But then I like the actor because he was in a movie called Accepted. And he had a bit part in it, but it was a funny bit part.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
That's why I remember him most.
He was on The Walking Dead for an episode.
Yeah, he was. I remember that.
Alright, so why don't we start with into DC television with the show that started it.
Arrow.
Now, Arrow just ended what season?
Third.
Now, before we go any further, let's make sure that all the listeners understand that our podcasts are not spoiler-free. We don't care. You should be watching it. Catch up. Listen.
If you're not watching it, you shouldn't be listening to the podcast. Because, you know.
Reasons.
Spoilers!
Because reasons.
Because reasons.
Okay, so.
You deserve it.
I do deserve it. I'm pretty, and I'm good enough, and I doggone deserve it.
That's right.
Richard Smiley.
Motivational talking at its finest.
You guys have no idea. You're too young. It's okay. Saturday Night Live reference.
Oh, okay.
So
I was just imagining like the more you know sign coming in.
The more you roll. What? Season 3 of Arrow ended.
Yep.
And had a weird ending.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It was just weird watching Oliver and Felicity go off in a car to the sunset to go somewhere, wherever Oliver wants to go next. I don't get that personally. What he's going to do next? He's going to go to another city and be the Arrow? Like,
I think he's going to just be this new Oliver for a little bit and figure out what the hell that means.
Gotcha. I mean, I get that, but I don't know. I get that, but I don't see how that's going to translate to the next season. Like, he's just not going to be there for the first couple episodes of the season?
Who knows? I think the idea of Thea becoming Speedy's pretty cool.
Yes.
Or Red Arrow, whatever she wants to call herself.
She'll probably be called Speedy because, that's also what Arsenal was called in the comic books.
Right. Diggle
I hope he comes back. I hope he's not done.
Well, if he does come back, is he going to come back in a costume?
That would be hilarious, especially considering,
What's he going to be, Shoot Man?
I don't know.
I mean, let's be realistic. Oliver and Diggle's abilities are not that far apart from
No,
one
they're
another.
not. I mean, I think Oliver was slightly ahead of Diggle in certain ways. Some aspects. But Diggle was, he was trained military, been in and out, and done several things. So
I think John is a much more versatile soldier.
Yeah.
Where Oliver could see when we talk about stuff like this in my head, I see like little bar graphs, like the old comic book bar
power level kind of
right,
things.
Right.
Yeah.
And
got your scouter on.
Oliver's specialties are better than John's specialties.
Yeah.
But
Oliver's specialist, whereas John is more of an all rounder.
But he's a great.
Yeah. He's not so much the jack of all trades, ace of none. He's more of an ace of all kind of person.
Yeah, of all the fundamentals. He's got his fundamentals.
Yes.
He soldier real good.
And I totally agree with Oliver's statement of he has been the rock for the team throughout all seasons. He is the one solid person throughout the entire season. He's always there.
See, I think it was
everybody together.
Wasn't it one of the episodes where they said that Oliver was like the heart of the team or some shit like that?
Yeah, I remember them saying that. That was around the first time he went to go fight Rosman.
Right, and
lost.
that to me was bollocks.
Yeah.
Felicity's the heart.
Yeah.
She wears it on her sleeves.
Completely.
And John is the backbone. I mean,
Oliver is. I know this sounds weird.
He's the Death Lasers.
He's the Death Lasers. Like, you know, he's not so much the muscle or the brain. He's just kind of. He's the.
Well, he kind of is the brain of the operation. Not as in he's the smart one,
Right.
but he's the one who's got the plan. He's the one who's got the drive.
Right.
The powerhouse?
No,
that would actually be Roy.
Roy was because of the Mirakuru, and
yeah, he was kind of the powerhouse.
I would have to say honestly, there is no quote unquote powerhouse on that team.
Right.
Every one of them has the ability to, except for Felicity, unfortunately. Every one of them has the ability.
In her own way, she could though.
Well, yeah, I mean, she can get on the computer and wreck your world,
Wreck your
but
world.
I'm thinking more superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Felicity is the Oracle.
Yeah, the Watchtower.
No. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Oracle from the DC Comics? So Barbara Gordon was the Batgirl.
Uh-huh.
And in The Killing Joke, she got shot by Joker. Not because she was the Batgirl, but
Right.
just because she answered the door when he went to kidnap Detective Gordon.
Awesome.
So when he shot her in the guts, it severed her spine and she was paralyzed from the waist down. So Barbara Gordon started using her incredible intellect and savvy computer
What
skills.
the hell is with comics and putting people in wheelchairs and suddenly making them the messiahs and the people who can see and predict all these things? Ergo, X-Men.
Well, no, I get where you're going with that reference, but
Because this happens a lot. It happens a lot, though.
Barbara's always been smart.
I get that.
She was just focusing more on gymnastics than, as Batgirl.
I'm just trying to figure out where that theme of the really intelligent person is always in the wheelchair. The person.
I suppose when you lose, like, your hearing, your sight gets better. So when you lose your legs, certain parts of your body
Calm
gets
down,
better.
Daredevil reference backwards.
That's true.
Got to.
It's true.
No, it is true. I don't know if it's science, but I remember reading a science fiction story, and a lot of times you'll get certain facts blown out of proportion.
Right.
But in the story, the people who lost their sight, they were studying their brains, and they noticed that without all the effort of the brain deciphering what you see, it left the brain open for other creative aspects and whatnot. And in the science fiction story, they blinded like half the people in the country. They chose to do it.
Right.
Those people chose to do it so that
I
they
wouldn't care
could
either way, but yeah, that's cool.
they could access higher functions of their brain.
Okay.
People who like did construction and firefighting and things like that kept their eyes.
What are their characters on Arrow?
But back to the Oracle.
Oh, yeah.
Her trick is she's a computer expert now. Plus, she's like an information broker for the good guys.
Right.
Batman's in the middle of the field and he needs something. Boop boop. Calls up his buddy, and then she later stretches out into other people.
I think
she had the Birds of Prey.
I think they did. Yeah, that's what I say. Birds of Prey. They actually did a very brief show on TV called Birds of Prey.
I never saw it.
It wasn't that great, so that's okay. But it was precursor to like a lot of the stuff we have on TV now.
I think when I remember,
and it was exactly that. It had Black Canary, Catwoman, and
probably Oracle.
And Oracle. There was a woman in the wheelchair, so she was Oracle.
Oh, they probably had a version of the Batgirl.
And
the Cassidy Kane or something like that.
Yeah,
Cassandra Kane. Yeah.
Cassidy sounds more similar.
I'm not a big DC guy, but there's been several Batgirls after Barbara.
Okay.
If Miss Kane is the one I think she is, it was all like trained in the way of ninjutsu and all that jazz.
Well, if I remember quickly, in this version, in this TV version of the Birds of Prey one, they had Batman was like no longer around.
Right.
That's why they were the ones like protecting the city.
If I remember that show at all,
and
it reminded me too much of Alias, and that's why I didn't get into it.
The main villain, I think, for the first season was Harley Quinn.
Really?
She was a psychiatrist for, I think, Catwoman or Black Canary, one of the two.
Okay.
And they didn't know she was Harley Quinn, but she was like pulling all the strings behind everything like that.
Okay, well that's not bad.
It was interesting from that aspect. And they were dealing with a bunch of different, stuff.
See, Harley Quinn as a character is so amazing to me because she was created in the cartoon.
Oh, really?
In the original animated series of Batman.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me rephrase that sentence. In Batman, the animated series that came out in the 90s, that's where the character was created.
Interesting.
And she was so popular that DC put her directly into the comics.
We kind of off topic now, but
yeah, that's what this show does.
Back to Arrow.
We should call it like 999 tangents.
Let's see. So the third season came. It had a lot of interesting plot points in it.
Go ahead.
I think the funniest thing for me was just Oliver and Nissa's wedding. Like, I thought that was hilarious. When she's like, I'm going to totally stab him right now in the middle of the wedding. He's like, no, continue. That was hilarious.
How hilarious would it have been if he'd held to it?
I know, right? Like, he was like, well, I'm married now, so like, kind of, I'm sorry, Felicity. Yeah.
As much as I love Felicity, and I remember talking to you, like, she's been through an emotional ringer.
Yeah, that's right. She's been through an emotional ringer, but up until this last episode, she was really starting to piss me off.
Right.
Because she was just crying in every episode.
And I got that. I got what you were saying, because I'm kind of on board. Where you're on that boat, I was at the dock wishing you well.
Getting ready.
But I understood where you were going with that. And I knew it was because of the way the character was developing, and I didn't really like it. Because I remember telling you, they've got about a handful more episodes, and if they don't bring Felicity out of this,
Felicity,
no one's going to want to be around her.
Yeah. She was, because the funny thing is, she was originally only a side character in the first season.
Oh yeah, she was supposed to be a guest star.
She was not supposed to be a mainstay, and then, that changed.
Well, the popularity of her, the chemistry between the two actors.
And the moment when Oliver, spoilers, obviously, when Oliver fell down the waterfall, and Felicity was the one who caught him in the suit.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, all right, Felicity's back. We have Felicity is back, because that's only something Felicity would do. She would put on someone else's suit and,
I'm going to say this, and get my flame-proof undies on.
Okay.
I like Felicity a lot as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I hate her as the Oliver girlfriend.
Yes, I agree.
I thought she was so much better as her own character, seeking out her own relationships with Palmer, an example. And
they were a good fit.
I think they bowed to the easy answer in doing this.
Well, I know you're of a slightly different opinion, but I believe that I think Oliver should just be alone in general. I think he's okay that way. I think he'll survive and be fine. You said something to the effect earlier about
Black Canary
instead.
Well, see, the comic book and comic book and Black Oliver or Green Arrow and Black Canary are a thing,
right?
An item.
Which I'm totally cool with that being. I'm totally cool with Oliver having someone, that being a thing. But I also feel like the Felicity thing's a little forced and doesn't really need to be there.
Well, see, in the beginning it was very organic and flirty and fun, and now I agree that it.
The last half of this season, the third season, has been literally all about Felicity being like, no, Oliver, you totally need me. We totally can do this together. We can work on this. This can be a thing.
I gotta be real with you. If their relationship has started off in such a rocky start, it's going to be very difficult to move forward from this day.
Definitely.
I mean, what's going to happen?
That's why I said the ending of them driving out into the sunset was a little weird.
What's going to happen 6 months from now when she's working at a tech shop putting computers together just for fun, living below the radar, and he's working at the Kinko's?
I'm just imagining
until that need for adrenaline cranks back up again.
Imagining Oliver at a Chick-fil-A.
I wonder if Chick-fil-A's are even in Seattle.
I don't know, but I don't care. I just want there to be one there.
Because aren't they on the West Coast? Aren't they supposed to be?
No, we don't have any on the West Coast.
Well,
I don't believe.
Starling City, I've never been to the West Coast, but it just seems like it would be a Portland or.
Do we have any? It's been, oh my god, I've been out of California for 2 years. I don't even remember what we had there anymore.
Well, I know Northern California is much like Oregon and Washington, as opposed to what we think of as California.
Right.
Welcome to the East Coast.
Yeah, the East Coast is nice, I guess.
It's okay.
The weather is interesting.
Well, we're not going to get into geography, or I'll be here for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's not do that.
So, let's move on to the...
I have to say this about Malcolm. Malcolm, for me, was my favorite character of the season. His development from the beginning to the end, his relationship with Thea, his relationship with Oliver, how nobody trusted him, but he was actually trying to earn all their trust.
I don't think he was.
Sort of.
I think you can...
Now he is now Ra's al Ghul, which I think is awesome.
I think you can trust Malcolm when it's in Malcolm's best interest to be trusted.
Or when it comes to Thea. I genuinely think that's the case.
Until Thea can trust him as a character, I can't trust him as a viewer.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So, we have the third person... Perspective, yeah, thank you. And I believe that Malcolm's going to do what's best for Malcolm. Mm-hmm. So, if Malcolm's got your back to save his life, I think you can trust him.
Right. on that same token, we saw the preview for the Heroes of Tomorrow, whatever it
Right,
was,
right.
and we see Sarah comes back.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Malcolm's probably gonna have something to do with that.
Well, I think that it's going to be kind of
Nyssa.
the peace offering between him and Nyssa.
Yeah.
Because he's already like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, really? Well, boop, here's your dead girlfriend.
Damn it. I'll kill you some other day.
Take your rage and your piss poor attitude,
That's right.
and you never had French fries dipped in chocolate ice cream, and fuck off.
That scene was probably my favorite scene of the entire season, though, because it was just so funny to see Nyssa outside of her being this badass, kill everybody, I fucking hate the world attitude to, man, French fries and ice cream, this is awesome. Never had it before. That's really cool character development.
Not to be too meta, but you take a character who's two-dimensional and you start creating the third dimension to them.
Right.
And then that's their character. She is a two-dimensional person. She is the daughter of the demon and the murderer for the Assassin Guild. That's all she's done.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden she's seeing, hey, there's like 89% more of the world out here.
She'll probably enjoy it while it lasts.
As long as, she's been through a very traumatic childhood.
Yeah. I mean, when you're raised by the demon, I don't know, how's that feel, Kayla?
I don't know. Ask my mother.
I didn't make that joke, Adrian. I did not make that joke.
she makes that joke herself.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just...
Okay.
Ex-husband did not do that. Matrix dodge. Alright, so from the Arrow, we spin off into The Flash.
This one,
which just ended...
No,
it's not ended
one more
yet?
episode, next week.
Yeah, first season though, right?
First season.
This one I know a little bit about. A tiny bit. Mostly because I like that one character. And that's how much I know about it.
That's awesome.
I don't know his name.
Cisco?
No, he... Spoilers, but there was that episode where he died, so they went back in time to...
Cisco.
Yes. This whole
that's usually that's the one character everybody loves about the show. Cisco
is spoilers. You don't have to keep saying spoilers.
I know,
Spoilers.
You can go to your room.
I don't have a room here.
That's going to be a long walk then, ain't it? Yeah, Cisco's fun.
I connect to him on an emotional level.
I think Cisco's the nerd inside everybody in the show. I think that's effectively what he is. He is the nerd,
or at least the fanboy.
The fanboy. That's right. That's what. A little fanboy inside everybody who just wants to squee and name all the characters and all that stuff inside the show.
Isn't it funny how him and Caitlin are support, and I'm doing air quotes, you can't see it, support characters of the Flash, but they're not support characters of the show. They're main characters.
They're main characters. Yeah. Well, that's kind of like how Felicity and Diggle were originally supposed to be support characters of Oliver, but there's main characters.
I
of the
agree
show.
with that with Felicity, but not Diggle.
Really?
Yeah, when Diggle started, you could tell right off the bat.
Spot, then,
yeah, Roy later became a support character of the show and the character.
I like Caitlin's character, so I feel like there needs to be a little more development with her character, but I still like her character.
It sitting here thinking about it, it's so funny how television shows used to be this episode or this show starring this guy, and everyone else was kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. And
then somewhere along the line of Star Trek and Bonanza, you started getting what they call an ensemble cast. When Star Trek started, and I'm going to go with that one because I know it better, it was supposed to just be starring William Shatner. But Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley were so strong characters and prominently showcased that it became starring those three. Well, the support cast was so popular that, it became starring these people, and then at the end of the credits, also starring.
You've got good talent, you've got good talent.
Ensemble works for television, and it does not work so great for movies, in my opinion.
We could probably talk about that a little bit when we get to the cinema.
Yeah.
What has been interesting throughout the entire season is Harrison Ford and figuring out his story and, finding out that he is the Reverse Flash.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, or Harrison. Yeah.
Wells.
Harrison. I don't know.
Harrison Ford's the actor.
That his name? Is it an actor?
Harrison Ford's Han Solo.
Oh, duh.
And Indiana Jones.
Wow.
And the President.
Yeah.
And, go Wikipedia that shit.
Go Wikipedia that shit.
Yeah.
No, Harrison Wells, finding out his story throughout the entire thing has been really interesting. Barry as a character I honestly didn't like him in the beginning.
Really?
Didn't like him in the beginning. I
Why?
was like, he's too passive. After watching Arrow, right? Oliver is just, go, do this. We got to get this done. I got to save my city. You failed the city, just in your face. So Barry, who is, I want to be a hero, but, you know, I'm not really willing to do anything
I think
and
that
everything to get it done.
I think that comes down to the...
I realize now they're different types of heroes.
Right,
and it's explained in this most recent episode that he is not Oliver Queen. He is Barry Allen, the Flash.
Right,
There is
right.
a big difference between how they...
Where him and his adopted dad were having that little discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After he tried to, you know, get Captain Cold, best villain on the show, to help him.
Right. And I get where you're going with that. And I was fixing to say, you know, heroes kind of break down in one of three ways. You have the guy the vigilante, Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You have those that just save people, so the protector, Superman.
So you have your Supermans or your Batmans.
And then you have your anti-hero, like the Punisher.
Like Punisher.
Stop air fisting Kayla.
Bless Frank.
So, I mean, of course you're going to get characters that run the gamut in between these aspects. You know, you can almost see it as that little triangle. And
sometimes they're like little two circles crossing over.
Right.
Sometimes one's in the middle.
Right. Well, I mean...
There's two circles. Batman,
Three
Superman,
circles.
over. Oh,
anti-hero.
Oh, the anti-hero. And then somewhere in between, someone's a mix of Batman, Superman, and
well,
an
see,
anti-hero.
like, Spider-Man's more the guy who's a protector, but he'll get vigilante from time to time.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That's true, yeah.
You know, where Captain America is 90% protector.
Yeah.
By the book, soldier.
Cap would definitely punch a mugger in the side of the head if he saw one while he was walking down the street.
Definitely.
But he doesn't go out patrolling for them like other heroes do. Because he's got, you know, world-saving bullshit to do. Yeah. Like Superman.
He's got bigger problems to deal with than a mugger on the street.
If you see a protector character doing something on street-level crime...
I'm sorry, I just guess because I'm imagining like Captain America walking down the street. There's like Thanos or some shit floating in the sky, and there's someone getting mugged. He's like, sorry. And, you know.
I can see him totally just walking by and punching him in the side of the head, going, really?
Right.
Aliens are attacking through a giant fucking hole in the sky.
Exactly.
And then you hear Iron Man go, language.
But yeah, language.
Never happened in the 1940s. I fought a Red Skull. That was it.
That was it. That was the freakiest thing we had to deal with.
So, I get where you're going that to you... Well, see you like the vigilante type character that the Arrow
I
is.
totally love the Batman style character.
See, in the beginning...
Not that I don't like.
Green Arrow is more of a swashbuckling, daring, adventure seeker hero.
Right.
And the Arrow was kind of a reimagining, and a lot of people were mad about that. Yeah, my phone went off. Wasn't that fun? So, a lot of people were mad about
That's
that.
kind of how Green Arrow was in Smallville. He was more of a billionaire who wanted to say,
oh my god, how far back are you going with that one?
I liked Smallville. Smallville was amazing, so,
It's funny how we all think these are the great new comic book show, and it's this brand new world, and this stuff's existed before.
I get that. This stuff existed before comic books, and there was other TV shows like way back. But
like the Incredible Hulk in the 70s.
The Incredible Hulk in the 70s, or the original Flash show.
Oh god. Yeah, I remember watching that as a kid.
Which I found was really awesome when they brought Hamill.
I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who originally played Barry Allen.
He played Luke Skywalker as well.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. He originally played... no, he didn't really play Barry Allen. He originally played the Trickster on the original Flash show, and when they did him again in this, he came back and had a whole moment of "I am your father" with the new Trickster.
Right.
It was so awesome. That episode was great.
But Barry's dad in the TV show was Barry Allen in the old TV show.
Right.
And
that's cool too.
The Mark Hamill bit, I did not know he was a trickster in the original television show.
I didn't know it originally when I found out.
But I did know he did voice the Joker in the original animated series of Batman, and has voiced the Joker many times. Mm-hmm. And in the Justice League cartoon, when they showed the trickster on television, they got Mark Hamill to do that voice as well.
He used the voice of the Joker, and yes, he played the trickster in the old Flash show.
But I did watch him in the newer one.
So, and essentially he'd been in jail for like the last 20 years, which I thought was really cool. That was a really cool episode.
Joe West is the adopted dad. My brain was contemplating it this whole time. I had to get it out.
That's the other thing. Like I said, I didn't like Barry in the beginning. Love him now. Great.
That's because you've come along with him and watched him grow up a little bit.
To talk about two characters that I didn't think I would like, and then a character I didn't think I'd like, and now I love, and then another character I liked in the beginning and hate now.
Okay.
I didn't think I'd like Captain Cold. Everybody was talking about the great actor who's going to be playing Captain Cold. He's going to be amazing, and I didn't think I'd like him, but I do. He's an amazing villain for the show. He's a great contrast to Barry.
As I've told Drew many times, a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff I don't know because it's not kind of my cup of tea. Now, I know I can go on hours about trivia on Star Trek,
right.
But it's because I really love Star Trek. These I enjoy, don't get me wrong,
right.
and I'm sure as they exist longer, I'll learn more behind-the-scenes stuff. So I don't know who that actor is.
He played in Prison Break, if I remember correctly, if that's correct. And that show was amazing for a lot of people. I mainly heard most of this through Josh.
Okay. So I watched
an
episode or two of
TV
Prison.
shows and movies and actors, he knows a lot about. If you need to know something about an actor,
he is a cinema buff.
He knows it.
I enjoyed. No, let me rephrase that. I saw Prison Break like an episode or two, and then
seen it.
Never went back to it. It was something on Fox. And it was not my cup of tea.
But either way,
Captain Cole,
he's great.
I like the character.
Yes, the character is great.
I don't quite understand why he does the speech pattern he does.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing.
You're not mad at me, Barry. You're mad at yourself for trusting me. And I'm like, is he supposed to be doing a bad Jack Nicholson impersonation? Or
good one.
It's no. I mean, I'm being facetious,
right.
But he's definitely creepy and cold and calculating. I ain't gonna lie. In that episode where he first showed up and he started talking like, "We got 15 seconds," I'm like, "Is it the Glock King?"
Yeah. No.
So
I like villains like that.
Sure.
Characters
I like the
that.
character. I don't know the actor. I'm interested in seeing him in this Heroes of Tomorrow or whatever the spin-off show's coming.
That's going to be interesting, considering he's already portrayed Barry once in a situation like that.
I don't know who has the rights to Constantine.
Honestly, it was canceled, wasn't it?
It was.
I think it was on USA.
No.
Was it Fox? Because if it was Fox, I'm not surprised it was canceled.
I don't know, and I don't feel like Wikipediaing it. But what I was going to say was, in that Heroes of Tomorrow, when that guy steps out of the shadows in his brown trench coat, I thought for a moment it was going to be Constantine.
I thought it was Constantine at first, too, and then he was like, "No, I'm like some Time Dude."
I'm Time Lord. Okay. British Time Lord.
Okay.
Time Lord.
The other character I was talking about that I liked in the beginning,
Time Lord,
but I hated by the by now is Iris. I can't stand her character in any way, shape, or form, and I don't know why. Every word that comes out of her mouth, every acting point she said, I just do not like her. I liked her in the beginning. She was that. I hate to use this phrasing, but this is the only thing I can think of is carrot on a stick for Barry, so to speak.
Carrot on a stick.
I don't know
why. Oh, Barry. Okay.
For Barry. And she was the news reporter to his superhero kind of thing. I get that, but then by now I feel like she whines about everything too much. She bitches and moans about everything too much.
I think your
she
problem
doesn't do enough.
I think your problem with Iris was the same problem you had with Felicity.
Yeah.
When they start showing some, and I want to be careful in this landmine of femininity. When they start showing certain female-esque traits that television like to exploit, yeah, that's a good sentence structure. I'm going with that one. It gets on your nerves.
It gets on my nerves because personally, I feel like if you're going to have a strong male role, you need a strong female role to contrast it. And Iris just isn't that for Barry, in my opinion.
My main problem with Iris, if I had to have one at all, is her character should be her character, not a plot device.
Yes.
And there's been many times where she's been a plot device.
Because she was captured? Or
no.
Her father was captured? Or
no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the things that she has control of as a character. I'm doing air quotes again. Okay, so for example, Iris gets mad at Eddie because Eddie has a secret and won't talk to him.
That's when I started hating her the most.
That was so bullshit!
That's when I started hating her the most, right there.
But that's not her fault. That's the writer's fault. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So frick the writers then on that part.
There you go.
Frick the writers because you made me hate your character.
Well, like Malcolm. You like Malcolm. I don't like Malcolm as a person. Mm-hmm. His character makes sense. I like the actor.
The writer did a good job of making him a person you don't like.
Malcolm Merlin was my next door neighbor,
right?
I'd be standing at the fence shaking my fist going, Merlin!
I think the writers want me to feel bad for Iris in that situation, though.
Yeah, see...
But I don't.
Because she created that drama for herself.
She did it herself.
But that's not, in my opinion, that's not her character. Her character would have done that. Because how many times has she had her dad's back and Barry's back? Mm-hmm. And before that day, Joe's back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Iris was the emotional backbone of her family.
Right.
She's the connecting point for her family. Mm-hmm. She got her dad not to shoot. What is
Not
Eddie?
Shoot Eddie.
Not shoot Eddie.
Oh, not shoot.
You know
Eddie.
what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I'm dating Eddie. I'm gonna kill him. Wait.
Kill him. I'm gonna kill him. Where is he? Which I actually kind of like. Outside of me not like Iris, I thought Eddie and Iris were great together. Personally, I kind of feel bad for Eddie actually because I think Eddie's a great character.
Eddie is a good character, and
At first he was that asshole, right? He was supposed to come across to that. Like the very first episode.
I gotta be honest with you, I don't remember that far.
In the very first episode, he was kind of a jerk to Barry.
Yeah, when you first see him, you're like, is he fixing to wedgie this guy?
Yeah,
I mean, really, is
exactly.
he that guy?
That's what you got from him. But as you comment on,
But it became friendly banter.
Friendly banter. He was very much. He is a cop, and he wants to protect people.
Yeah, he wants to be a detective.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's cool. I can admire that. That's cool.
my problem with the Iris West / Eddie Thawne, is that his last name?
Eddie Thawne. Yep.
I didn't have a problem with it in the beginning, but when they created this whole future drama, I got mad about that.
Oh, the whole fact that Barry and Iris are supposed to be together in the
Right.
future, and so he's like, "Oh, well, fuck this thing."
Okay, so when I'm sitting here watching the show,
Right.
I know enough about the Flash to go, the guy in the wheelchair is Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
I knew it. Mm-hmm. I knew it from the get-go.
And a lot of people, I didn't know this, but a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, Iris totally marries Barry because." It's Iris
Well, yeah,
Flash."
I knew that as well.
I didn't know that at first, and then people told me. I was like, "Okay, well, that makes sense."
So when Harrison started just being Harrison to me, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then when they started slowly showing, oh, he's from the future, I'm like, Reverse Flash, fuck it. When they showed Iris being in the relationship with Eddie, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. We're going to go a different way. They're going to put their own stamp on this.
They even brought in Barry's the girl who was supposed to, by name anyway, supposed to be Barry's like second wife, or
I don't think Barry ever had a second wife in the comic, but I could be wrong.
Or was it something? Okay, the girl he was dating,
That the other
reporter, she was apparently either supposed to be Barry's other wife at some point in a different timeline from comic books, or his son's wife, which I think is weird, but there was something along those lines.
Well,
a different Flash's wife.
To be fair, these TV shows recycle names.
Yeah, they recycle names, but I think they
like Felicity Smoke is actually a character in DC Comics, which is nothing related to the character you saw in the show.
Well, I think they were trying to poke at it with this one.
I don't know anything about that. I would say this. I wish they hadn't just created the relationship between Iris and Eddie just to be a foil later. I think that's
it's kind of sad.
Piss poor.
Yeah.
Did you say ass hat?
But no, it's just kind of sad.
Oh.
It can be an ass hat too, but that's okay.
I was on board for ass hat.
It's kind of sad.
I like the Flash a lot, and
it's a good show. It's a good show.
Well, he's the kind of hero I like.
Right.
He's the I'll save the woman from getting mugged, or the guy in the opening. He's saving a dude from getting hit by a taxi.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Flash cares more about the lives than the law.
Right.
And I like that. Where Oliver cares about the law, his law.
Yeah. Arrow's law. Yeah. Arrow's law. Arrow.
All right. So you want to move on to the new stuff that's coming up?
Well,
Supergirl.
Was there anything else on the Flash? Firestorm.
Yes, Firestorm.
Firestorm. That was a really good string of episodes. Good character development for Caitlin, and seeing the other Amel, the other Amel cousin, back in the show after his Tomorrow People show was canceled was kind of nice.
Who?
The guy who plays Firestorm is the guy who plays Oliver's cousin. They're both named Amel.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
And I take it you mean the younger man, Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yeah. Ronnie.
Okay.
He was on another CW show called The Tomorrow People, and so was Captain Cold's sister.
Sure.
They were both on the show called Tomorrow People together. That was on CW.
Keep going.
It didn't do that great, and so it was canceled. But they did really good over there. So I'm glad to see them on a new show with good roles.
I like that they're keeping the Firestorm as its traditional storyline of, I hate to say it this way, but I think in the comics it was kind of like Jock Guy and Professor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're the odd couple. They make a superhero.
Right.
And I like that. I'm, again, not a big DC person, so I don't know a lot of the stories. I did not remember that the Professor could ever take over the body But see,
TV show.
in the comics, Firestorm not only catches on fire, but he can manipulate matter.
Okay.
So, for example, he can look at the refrigerator over there and pull all the iron out of it, or transmute it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they plan to, at least I believe they do plan to make an Atom and eventually a Firestorm show as well. So...
Well, that could be that Heroes of Tomorrow thing.
That could be what that is, at least leading into it, so to speak. Because this is our first...
Commercial for it.
Yeah, commercial for it, so who knows. I think that's it as far as Flash. I don't think there's anything else for Flash.
Gorilla Garage freaked me the fuck out.
Gorilla Garage was awesome. I don't want that banana.
He is a lot more intelligent in the comics, and I'm sure that will come in time.
Yeah.
And I don't know who plays the evil general, but I hope the monkey kicks him in the balls. He's doing a very good job of being a douchebag.
Yes, he's doing a very good job of that.
Alright, so Heroes of Tomorrow, we saw the little trailer for it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to go into, but I am looking forward to seeing
Canary,
it.
totally cool with that. Really want Sarah back.
Sure.
Just really, really big fan. So.
Well, I thought it was kind of stupid the way they killed her.
Arrow to the chest.
And didn't even shoot him. Well, yeah, I guess she did.
Huh?
Just all the misdirection was so good, I don't even know what the fuck happened. All I know is she died.
Okay, so Malcolm used
Thea.
weird medicines and stuff to get Thea to kill Sarah.
But Roy thinks he did it too.
But Roy thinks he did it too, and he finds out that no, he just killed a cop.
And then squirrels.
Squirrels?
Sure, why not? We'll throw squirrels in it too.
Squirrels, sure. But yeah, I can't wait to have Sarah back. That would be cool.
I'm interested to see how they're going to work.
And Adam can now turn into an Atom.
Well,
or we'll eventually be able to do that. Probably.
Yeah.
That was
the micronization.
Cool. Yeah, because at the end of this Arrow season finale, and in the trailer for the Tomorrow thing, they kind of go together.
He doesn't shrink in the TV show.
Not in. Okay, in the season
in fact,
finale,
his season
floor it blows up, and I'm sure that's what gives him the powers to shrink down. Which you see in the Tomorrow thing.
I'm interested in how they're going to justify using Captain Cold and Heatwave or whatever his.
Oh yeah, for a hero thing, who knows?
I can see Captain Cold being.
I mean, he's done it once already, sort of.
A mercenary who will work with people, kind of like how they did Deadshot.
He's kind of like Malcolm in that sense of like, hey, if you're on my side, I'll back you up just because it's convenient for me. As long as it's convenient for him, he'll do it.
Well, but then he betrayed Barry.
I know, because it was convenient for him to betray Barry. Because now all of them owe him one, and Barry also now owes him one in his mindset. So
he owes him about 1 million punches to the face.
God, it's
and 2 to the scrote.
It's so interesting seeing. That episode was just really interesting with the Captain Cold being like, y'all owe me one now. Bye.
Except the one guy who shot him in the face. He was like, that guy owed me money.
That guy.
I don't think it was. I think that guy was just crazy, and he was like, I can't have crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
I like the Shadow Girl, the one who teleports.
That'll be interesting when she comes back, because I'm sure they're going to use all these guys again. So.
Yeah.
The guy playing, the guy who can create the storms,
the
guy from
Weather
Spartacus.
Witch, or whatever. Weather Master.
Have you ever seen Spartacus?
Spartacus? The HBO
the
Gladiator
HBO show.
thing?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, he was Spartacus in the later 2 seasons after the first actor died. Great actor. I can't wait to see more from him in the show.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing that Supergirl after watching the little trailer I just got done watching.
Yeah. I'm not a big... I remember the Supergirl because I never read the comics, so I remember the Supergirl from the Smallville series.
Right.
She was okay in that. I didn't really like her that much. So I'm interested to see an actual real take on her because that show was more about, Superman.
Right. I enjoyed the 80s movie, though it was very soft. Superman, Christopher Reeves, you have to get in the mindset of how good it was to see Superman fly in a movie in those days of special effects.
I'm just saying, considering I waited 10 seasons of Smallville just to see a dude fly who I knew could fly the entire time, that was really horrible. Just saying.
Well, I'm just saying that the tagline of the Superman movie was...
That was a reference for anybody who gets that. That's cool.
Yeah, I totally don't. The tagline of the movie was, "You'll believe a man can fly."
Mm-hmm.
And the trick was, you did. Compared to the special effects of those days. I think Superman came out in 79?
I wasn't even born yet.
I know.
Okay.
I'm guessing. Yeah, it was very late 70s, very early 80s. Well, Supergirl came out after, like, Superman 2 or 3. And by the time they got to Superman 3, I think that's the one with Richard Pryor,
Okay.
it became this whole thing of we can just print money because superhero movie.
That's pretty much where we are now.
To a degree, the difference is...
TV shows and movies right now literally print money as far as superheroes are
Right,
concerned.
but the people still respect the craft.
Right.
Where it kind of got to the point
Stop
in the
respecting.
movies they didn't.
Speaking of racking money, I just read an article that Age of Ultron hit over $1 billion.
That's
I know.
not a surprise.
It's not a surprise, but
Considering the first one did.
You know the saddest part about all that? All the actors get paid only half as much as Robert Downey Jr. does. He gets paid the most out of all the actors in the Marvel
he's
universe.
the world's richest actor right now.
He gets paid the most.
I believe. I could be wrong.
In fact, originally Iron Man 3 wasn't going to come out because they didn't want to pay Robert they didn't want to pay him the amount of money that he was asking for. But they couldn't not do that, so they did it. But then Iron Man 3 sucked, so you know that's a
I liked it.
that's a whole other.
I liked Iron Man 3.
I hated that movie. That movie was Tony Stark 3. That was not Iron Man 3.
Well,
'Cause-
that's the point. They were trying to.
Hey, cinema. That's segment 3.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Considering
eventually.
this has already went quite some time and we ain't even got a segment 1.
Let's we'll go back.
That's all
We'll
y'all,
go
it's
there and we'll go there later because I got a lot to say about that.
You know, we might split this up and make this 2 episodes.
Whatever, go for it.
But what I'm getting at is the Supergirl movie came out,
Uh-huh.
and compared to the Superman movie, which, looking at it from 2015, the Superman movie is very innocent. It's very PG, barely PG, by what we consider standards today.
Okay.
And Supergirl was even softer. And then, I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, so I remember there being a lot of
Probably doesn't hold up very well.
just a lot of feminine cliches that would not stand today. And so this TV show that's coming out, the commercial looks like they took everything that's been good about the recreation of Supergirl in the comics, and they're mixing it with just a dash of TV femininity formula.
TV formula, which is fine because it works.
So far, so good. They don't look like they're downplaying her or making her dumb, and that's what.
No, apparently she. From what I gather, just from looking at that, she's probably quite intelligent.
In the comics, Kara is technically older than Cal,
Yeah, I know that.
but due to
Looks like here she's going to be younger than him, though.
hold on,
Or no,
Due
she's
to-
still older.
due to time dilation through space, she comes to Earth after Clark or Cal, and so technically, physically, she's younger.
Gotcha.
So she's been alive
Longer.
19 years. Clark's been alive 30, though she was born 12 years before Cal.
Right.
It's funny like that, but
That's interesting.
in the comics, I don't exactly remember what the drama stick between Superman and Batman is, other than Superman and Batman. So
Yeah,
Wonder
I don't-
Woman takes her
I don't
and
get that.
trains her
That
on
sounds
the
awesome.
island of
That sounds
Right.
awesome.
So-
is that in the comic book?
that. It's in.
I need to find that because that sounds awesome.
I don't know if it got rewritten over by the New 52 thing, but yeah, early 2000s, Supergirl shows up and is trained by Wonder Woman.
That sounds awesome.
And so she becomes... Now, obviously, she's always going to have a connection to Superman. She's
Right.
Supergirl.
Right.
She's his cousin.
Right.
But this widens the scope of the character by giving her other ties and other reasons to do things.
Tied Wonder Woman. That's pretty cool.
And the costume, did you see
Yeah.
that? Where they keep the traditional miniskirt, but it looked like they had tights or something underneath
Yeah.
it? I think that's awesome because, let's be realistic, who the hell wants to fly around with their ass hanging out?
I don't know. Ask Superman. I'm
Dude,
saying-
I've never...
I'm just saying. I've never understood why you wear underwear on the outside. It just makes no sense.
Let's be realistic. Of all the superheroes that come directly to my mind, the best, most realistic costume is Luke Cage. He wears a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. And some work boots.
I don't know.
Correct.
I know Batman's costume is pretty makes sense. From
It
what
does.
He
It does
what
for who he is.
So does Arrows, actually.
Well, I think that's the point, is that Superman is supposed to look goofy so that you see him.
Right. He's coming for you.
Well, in the early days, he wasn't quite bulletproof, I don't think.
But he's Superman. So,
And now he is, and so he wants to draw your attention, shoot at me, not the innocent people.
Yeah.
Well, that was the joke between the Batman's yellow symbol in the middle of his chess piece, was it was the only part that was supposed to be bulletproof in the original ideas. That's why Dark Shadow Ninja Batman has a bright yellow circle in the middle of his heart.
Okay.
That was the joke. Well, this went on a bit longer than I thought, so I think we're going to wrap this up with just the DC idea of television.
Okay,
and
the
maybe,
DC idea of television.
And come back later and do the Marvel television, plus the cinemas.
I mean, I will say this.
Well, let's go ahead and go into the DC cinema.
Okay.
So...
How far back are we going here?
Well, hold on. Yeah, right.
Because I have seen...
I'm going to start with Superman Returns.
Never seen it.
Okay, hold on.
I actually don't think I've ever seen any of the older Superman movies, except in passing, like clips and things along those lines.
Well, Superman Returns starred Brendan Routh, who's now...
Wasn't that the one that nobody liked with Superman Returns?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it, but he's now the Atom.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, he plays Ray Palmer. I enjoyed that one. Kevin Spacey was an amazing Lex Luthor. Even when he shanked
Kevin Spacey was Lex Luthor?
I think that's the right name to say. But even when he shanked Superman in the kidney with a shaft of kryptonite...
That sounds awesome.
It was kind of cheesy, but it made perfect sense. And it was... I don't know. I had very mixed feelings about it then. I think I do now.
I mean...
But then there's that new Superman movie came out where it's like Superman meets Michael Bay and they have an adventure.
Oh, yeah, the new one. Okay. That one, I didn't like the first time I watched it. I didn't like it the second time I watched it. Third time I watched it, I was like, not so bad.
We have our 3 Batman films from Nolan.
Which I love all of them.
I don't know.
No, take that back. I love the first 2. Hate the third one.
Is Nolan his first name or last name?
Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, okay. So there's 5 movies. Mm-hmm. We throw in the Green Lantern movie.
I saw it.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It wasn't nowhere near as bad as everybody tries to make it out to be.
Well, me personally, nothing against Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. He's a fine actor for certain characters.
Right.
But they took Ryan Reynolds and they tried to make Hal Jordan more like Ryan Reynolds' acting personas. Mm-hmm. And it's not how Jordan to a lot of people.
Is Ryan playing Deadpool in the new movie?
Yes.
So I think that's a way better fit for him.
That's why they hired him to be Deadpool.
He's been saying for the last 6-7 years that he would love to play Deadpool, so I'm so glad he finally got that role.
I'm not saying there isn't a Green Lantern that guy could be. Right. I think if he had been Kyle Rayner, the artist, Green Lantern, or even Guy Gardner, the jackass Rock'em Sock'em Green Lantern, I think Ryan Reynolds would have been good as one of those two.
I know this is going to sound really funny, but the only Green Lantern version I know, and I can't
remember, John Stewart.
Is whoever the cartoon version was
John
back in
Stewart.
the black one.
The Marine.
That's the only one that matters.
That's the only one I know because that was the only one I saw when I was a kid.
That's the only one that matters.
For me, I agree.
I know. I get what you're saying.
So for me, it's like, okay, Kyle Rayner, all these other that's cool.
There are 5
Green
Lanterns.
I knew.
Oh my god.
There are 5 Green Lanterns, and we went over the 4 of them:
right.
Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Kyle Rayner.
Okay.
The 5th one is not related to Space Green Lanterns, so he doesn't usually get wrapped up into the Green Lantern Corps, but it's Alan Scott.
Okay.
His Green Lantern does come from space. It's made from a meteorite. So that's all we're going to say about him and let that go. But the other 4, they have super distinct personalities that the one binding combination was they were strong in willpower.
Right.
See... And then the other problem with Green Lantern, as far as I'm concerned, is it's terribly plagued by retcon. When Abin Sur crashed and the Ring sought out a man without, of strong will, without fear, and all that jazz, whatever the criteria was, and it got Hal Jordan. Well, they later retconned and went, it got Hal Jordan because he was the only one nearby. It would have also got John Stewart. John Stewart was B.
Each one was like a B, C, D version?
Well, Hal Jordan was choice A, John Stewart was choice B.
Gotcha.
I don't know how Guy Gardner got into it, but Guy is a brave and very strong-willed individual. He's just kind of 80s douchebag.
Okay, then.
And then, that's Guy Gardner. And Kyle Rayner, his story existed when the entire Green Lantern Corps was dying out, and he was the quote-unquote last Green Lantern. So his ring had very few weakness, if none at all. I think it had none at all. And then, so Hal has a very aspect of justice and heroics. John has a very aspect of law and order. Guy has the strength of moral right and wrong, even if it's not always presented in a great way. Kyle's trick was he was imaginative. Kyle's trick was the joke being that he was the artist. I remember an issue, I've read very few, but he had to do with Soul Train. The television Soul Train.
Uh-huh.
He hit a guy with a green Soul Train.
Alrighty then.
And they drew it like that. So Kyle Rayner was an excuse, I think, for the artist of the comic book to just
go crazy.
Cut loose.
Yeah.
During the Justice League, everybody always got mad at Jon Stewart's character for making what? Shields, ray beams,
yeah.
Where Hal Jordan was all like giant green fists and big scissors. So they were like, his imagination's better, but it's kind of lame. And that's why in that episode where John gets turned into a child, he's like, I'll make a lawnmower. No, wait, I'll do this. No, wait, I'll do this. And they're like, just pick something already.
I loved that episode. I absolutely loved that episode. Because I was excited because it was cute.
And now you have a variety of different lanterns. And I think Guy ends up becoming a Red Lantern. Because of his angers. But... yeah, the movie, I enjoyed it a lot, but I think Ryan Reynolds is not a good Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing all of this up because in the TV shows, both Barry and Oliver, or The Flash and Arrow, they make reference to the Ferris airfield.
Right.
Carol Ferris is the woman who's running the airfield in the movie.
Huh.
Hal Jordan's love interest.
Didn't realize that.
She becomes Star Sapphire.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Alrighty then. Connections.
Yeah. Well, did you ever see the animated Green Lantern cartoon on Cartoon Network?
I think that's the one I was talking about.
No.
No, maybe. I don't. Dude, that was like...
This one was computer
9 or
graphics.
8, okay?
No. This would have been like
no, I never
5
saw
years
that
ago.
One. No, I was 9 or 8 at the time when I'm talking about the show.
You were talking about Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League.
They did a computer animated season of Green Lantern. Wow, green everybody. Green Lantern. It's him and Kilowog and a Red Lantern, and then the ship they're on has an AI. So
I think I saw
that becomes her name is AI or AI. I don't know how they pronounce it, but that's the joke. So I wonder if there's any DC. Okay, so the new DC movie coming out is Superman versus Batman.
Go away. So many people try to convince me, no, it totally makes sense. I don't care how much it makes sense. I don't want to see Superman fighting Batman. I don't care if it makes sense. I don't care if there's a cool story there. I don't want to see them fighting each other. It makes no sense to me. They're both superheroes. Go do superhero things.
Civil War.
I liked Civil War, though, because that made way more sense to me. One of them was like, we should totally sign it and people need to know. And I was like, no, we don't need to sign it. People need to protect their identities. I get that. That makes way more sense than whatever reasons the Superman and Batman fight.
You guys realize you're just like skimming an inch and a half of ice off the top of a deep, deep frozen well of both these aspects.
I understand that.
Okay.
Seen, I think what really started it is when Tony...
No, we're not getting into Civil War right now. No, we're sticking with DC at the moment.
DC at the moment.
The Superman-Batman thing
Yeah.
stems from a time of the 60s and 70s changing over to the 80s and the 90s.
Okay.
That's why Superman and Batman are at odds now. That is literally the real reason why it happened. Writers went, hey, can't be sidekick buddies. Let's do something else with them.
Why? What is the point of that? They're both heroes.
Through the evolution of the characters, it does make more sense. But
how?
Because Superman,
yes, he's from another planet. He's an alien. But he's saving people on a daily basis. What does Batman have a problem with there?
I don't think that Batman has a problem with Superman's existence as it stands. It's that Superman is a flying god.
Yeah.
And Batman needs to know how to take that down in case it ever happens. Just like Batman needs to know
I get that
what
part.
to do when Domino's is 5 minutes late.
I get that. I get that. But how do
he
you
always has a plan.
How do you create...
No, Kayla was looking at me like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Batman always had the plan. Yeah.
No, the Domino's reference. She was like, what?
I believe they even did like a comic run where like someone found Batman's like secret vault of how to defeat every superhero.
Yeah, and they made an animated movie about that.
Which, that's cool.
How sad is it that the DC animated movies are so much better in quality than the big screen stuff, and no one ever hears about them?
I always thought about that, how cartoon series or animated movies just really captured it. But I guess, my bad, acting is, you've got to get into that character, and sometimes writing for that character, it's a lot harder than it is making the cartoon.
I can tell you exactly why. The creators of the DC animated series are marketing and creating a product for people who are fans of DC Comics and the DC animated series. People who make movies for everybody.
Yeah.
When they make a movie, it's their hope that anybody would buy a ticket to come see it. And that's why you get lukewarm piss water sometimes.
I always figured movies on the big screen were, hey, look at this is DC, these are our movies, and if you're really interested in it, you go to the cartoons or the comics. It's kind of like an introduction. No. I always thought that.
I know you get that, but that's not why they make the movie.
No, that's how I feel.
Yeah. But
you're
like trying...
the exact opposite, maybe, a little bit.
What's that?
Probably like the inverse of that. If you're really interested in the comics, you might want to go see the movie.
That's what they banked on in the beginning was, hey, in the 90s, they're selling like 1 million copies. What they didn't realize was that fanboys were buying 2 or 3 copies because they were saving at least one of them in the hopes that this would become a college or retirement fund down the road because of the way... They didn't realize that in the 70s and the 60s, those comics were rare because A, they didn't print a lot, and B, people thought, hey, they're comic books, I'm going to throw them away when I'm done with them. And that's what made, your copy of X-Men 17 rare.
Right.
Now... X-Men Volume 2, 17, they printed, 500,000 or some crap like that. And eventually the bubble burst. So we're back down to runs of 200,000. But you were Batman, Superman, go ahead.
Maybe it's because I just don't want to see heroes fighting each other for no reason other than just because.
Well, they titled it Batman versus Superman. We don't know if there's going... Well, you guys went on about the Iron Man Hulk fight.
Well, that's the reason. That could be the tie, is that sometimes...
What, Superman, like what? Something happens to Superman's mind, and Batman has to stop him?
There could be that.
That happened before.
I think it's different.
There could be a mislead.
I think it's different. For Hulk's mind was messed up, and he really literally went on a rampage, and someone needed to stop him.
Sure.
Right? I feel like the Superman vs. Batman is just, they're fighting because testosterone.
But we don't know why they're fighting until we watch the movie.
Like you said, Superman's from a different planet, right?
Yeah.
So, my thought, and it could be a stupid thought, but is that he wasn't quite used to Earth customs, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. But
he grew up.
Yeah, he grew up on Earth.
That too, but I don't know.
There's going to be a reason. Whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, we won't know until we see it.
I would rather see Superman and Batman team up movie instead of
course.
Superman.
Well, that's where it's going to go.
I think what it is the verse is there. It just makes it seem like they're enemies, which I don't see them ever being enemies because the Hulk versus Iron Man, you knew it wasn't because they were enemies. Even just watching the trailer, you knew that they weren't fighting each other in that movie just because they were going to be enemies.
See,
Hulk probably lost control of himself.
There's a running gag in Marvel that 2 heroes can't meet without exchanging punches. It's just something that became their shtick.
Okay.
In DC, you didn't have that for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And then, comics became gritty and real and whatever. And we could go...
that's what... On the DC thing, that's what I like about, the Oliver and Barry thing. Barry's the more lighthearted hero, whereas Oliver's the more gritty and...
And they had a little bit of conflict, but nowhere near.
Nowhere near. No.
I know this doesn't have
and that
to
also
do
makes sense,
much.
because Barry lost his mind. Some dude made him really freaking angry, and he lost his mind. So Oliver was like, I gotta stop you, bro. But we're not enemies. I'm just stopping you because you're my friend. That's what Iron Man and the Hulk was. I don't feel like that's what Superman and Batman are. I'm stopping you because we're friends. I'm stopping you because
I think you're reading too much into the title. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
I hope it's not. I hope I'm over-exaggerating it because I'm not excited for this movie at the moment.
I can't remember the title of the comic, but the most famous Batman versus Superman kind of aspect was a future dystopia, and Superman was kind of like, quote unquote, the lapdog of the government, and Batman and him had a big showdown in it, and a lot of people were all like, see, Batman's the greatest in this. See, this is the problem. Superman is a Mary Sue character.
Right.
He was created by two artists in a time where the people they identified themselves with were persecuted. And he became the guy you want to be. Yeah, I want to fly and be bulletproof.
Realistically,
well,
Superman has two weaknesses, Lois Lane and Kryptonite.
Well, he has a few more than that, but we won't go into it at the moment. Magic.
Oh, yeah,
mental.
Magic. Okay.
Okay, we're not going to go into it.
Yeah, okay.
Superman's a Mary Sue character. He does everything, and he does it great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah, we develop later on more stuff. Batman is fanboys. Batman's greatest power is fanboys. Listen, I like Batman.
I agree.
I like Batman. Mm-hmm. I like Superman. I like them for different reasons.
Yeah.
They both scratch a different itch. Mm-hmm. Batman can beat anybody. Yeah, but it takes 6 months planning and $4.3 billion. Superman can hover in space and shoot eye beams and just lobotomize people if he felt like it. You know, Mary Sue versus fanboy. And that's what you're getting in this movie, I think.
Another thing for me?
I think it's going to be a generic bullshit reason to start the movie.
Oh, yeah, probably.
It's going to be the bullshit generic fuel of the movie, and then...
A bigger villain will show up?
No. That by itself would have made an okay film. But then everyone went, what about Aquaman? What about Wonder Woman? What about, I don't know.
Have you seen the pictures for
No,
Aquaman?
not at all. All I know is
the guy played Khal
Carl
Drogo?
Drago, or Khal Drago is going to be him.
Khal Aquaman. That's literally all you have to think of. Just imagine Khal Drago in, like,
I'm
Aquaman
not opposed to
attire.
Aquaman. I'm definitely not opposed to Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman should get her own movie.
She should.
If she shows up in this as a cameo for no other reason to go, here's Wonder Woman and we're going to make a movie, I'm okay with it. Anything less than that is pathetic, and anything more than that might be junk.
I really love Wonder Woman in the comics. She's awesome.
When they made her fly on her own and got rid of an invisible jet and became a warrior for peace, I know that sounds stupid. She was awesome.
That doesn't sound stupid at all.
It was amazing. I know this doesn't have to do with what you guys were talking about, but...
And her animated movie was great.
It has to do with, like, Batman and Superman. I don't remember which animated cartoon it was, but there was this one animated cartoon where, Superman had gotten kryptonite really close to his heart.
Okay.
And Batman's sitting there getting it out, and the whole time Superman's making jokes about it. He's like, yeah, cutting it real close to the heart, isn't it, Bruce? He has this face like, I could shove it in your heart and end it now. I could end it now. But he pulled it out, and I was like, hey. But it was just funny. It's whenever I hear Batman versus Superman, I always think of that moment for some reason.
If they did that in the movie, I'd love the movie. I'm just saying. That would be awesome.
I could end it all.
Okay, I could tell it to you right now, but I'm not going to because I'm Batman.
How funny would it be if Superman is at the power level he is, and it finds out that just a sliver piece of that kryptonite's been stuck in his kidney from when Lex Luthor shanked him, and then they pull it out and it unleashes more of his power. Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah.
It's like a silver bullet.
Best thing about comic books is sitting here pretending and imagining and all that jazz.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap up the DC aspect of our...
there was one more point I want to make. I think the other thing for me on the Batman Superman thing, or Batman vs. Superman, is I loved the 3 Batman movies that came out prior. I'm a little worried about this Batman.
We're definitely not getting into the Ben Affleck aspect of this discussion.
Well, yeah.
We're not. We're not.
Okay, fine. That's fine. Because I'm a little worried about it. I'm just worried.
We could sit here for another 15, 20 minutes, and it'll tangent into the Daredevil movie, which would tangent into the Daredevil Netflix.
Oh my god, the Daredevil
movie. We're totally not doing this.
All
right, so we're going to wrap up today for Two Fools Podcast. I'm Dave the Head.
I'm RJ.
And our random voice over there on our phone.
It's Kayla.
And, check back, let us know what you thought, and yeah, we're going to cut off another one of these for Marvel, and we'll see y'all later.
Later.